live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez, also known as Rick's 2 Cents, along with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything.
Hey, guys.
Andy from Andy Bird Builds.
What's up, everyone?
And Roger from Roger Shop.
Good evening.
I saw quite a bit amount of people already joining the live before. So very cool. So we got a new member.
Woohoo! That's cool.
Very cool. I'm interested to pronounce that name.
Funky. That's how I say it.
Funky Lumo. I don't know.
It's
Funky Comedina.
I guess it must be Japanese, so you would pronounce the E.
Yeah, I have no idea. I just think Funky's a cool name.
Clayton's in the building. Aloha from Hawaii. Everyone, please smash that like button. So, Steve, before we were joining the live, we were talking. Do you want to share what you have coming up for a giveaway?
Sure. I have now got confirmation from Longer when they get the Longer Duo into production, the Longer Nano Duo. We get to give one of those away.
And I have a giveaway coming as well. I'm doing a lawnmower review, the robot ones, and we get to give one of those away.
Nice.
Can I sign up for that too?
Yeah, I know, right?
You know, I'd like to have one to do my front lawn and my back lawn at the same time.
Yeah. So it seems pretty cool.
Which company is it?
I think it's called Gomo.
Gomo?
Yeah.
That's a cool name.
So the whole idea behind it, which is pretty wild, and what I'm going to say, it's the gift that keeps giving. Because if you don't want to buy it, you can basically pay $58 a month. And you can either send it back or you could pay the $58 and after so many months you own it. Kind of like a lease to own deal.
Or or for $5 you could hire the local kid to bring his own lawnmower and cut the grass for you.
Not around here.
Yeah, you won't get one for $5 around here either.
Mexicans are not cheap. Maybe in 91. Now they're like, they caught on. They're like,
Yeah, they're like $50.
You need us.
It's gonna take you 10 minutes. They're like $50.
Yeah.
And beer.
if they were cutting my lawn, they would certainly want to charge $50 because it's like 2 acres of grass.
Yeah, well, it's $58. So I say it's a gift that keeps giving because if you have in-laws or your father's getting older, I thought for $58, if you gave that to him for as a gift, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a neat concept.
Yeah, or people that, let's say you want to give something to your church, you donate that to your church and cut the grass.
Can you is it like a lease or is it month to month?
So they have, you can buy it outright and then, or you could do the monthly. And then after leasing it for so many months, they just basically.
So I could just rent one for the summer.
Send it back.
I don't need it in January.
Yeah, all right.
Even if there's no snow, the grass isn't growing. So, neat business model.
Yeah. So
I wonder how long they can sustain that because they have to keep a lot of inventory to make that happen, right?
Yeah, and it's also included as like unlimited blades, unlimited batteries, full maintenance. As long as you're paying the monthly payment, it's covered by them.
Old Path Woodworks. Is this new? Is this a new name?
Yeah. Let's see.
Welcome.
Shalom.
Where are you on the list here?
Tom said a Bigfoot high five from the Redwoods National Forest.
Nice.
Nice one.
Not sure what that is, but
That's where Bigfoot lives.
Well, yeah, but I don't know what a Bigfoot high five is. That sounds like an oxymoron.
You got to be like,
Bigfoot high five.
The Redfoot National Forest. That's your future 2x4s to build houses.
Oh, yeah. As Trump made our national forests be able to cut down. Now we're going to be able to buy.
I don't want to get into politics. I was just poking fun.
We're going to be able to buy redwood for our decks.
Yeah, that'd be
How
nice.
you guys like this shirt?
Hey, maybe they'll be straight.
Blue collar proud.
I
I wore a non-political shirt today.
Hey, someone, if you go a little further, someone said, nice shirt, Steve.
Yeah, this one. It's my favorite laser guy. Oh, it's reverse here.
I work with lasers. What's it, a picture of yourself?
No, it's a picture of just some space guy holding a laser gun.
You said my favorite laser guy. That's why I said a picture of yourself.
This guy, yeah.
Pew pew.
Yeah.
All right, we got a question. Andy, you want to take this?
Yeah, Terrible at Fishing says, I'm a beginner CNC guy. I'm trying out Carveco Maker at the moment. I can't afford the more expensive software. That's a tough one. So, okay, if, ideally you don't go like that. It's not the best way to go. But just
very
from
politically correct answer.
I know, right? From experience. But no, I mean, you're right. Like if you can't afford it, you use what you can use. And Carveco Maker, you can make things with Carveco Maker.
How big is your CNC? Because if it's less than, like if it's a smallish kind of CNC,
you don't need the pro version. You're saying?
Yeah, you can get V-Carve desktop,
which is
and
it's a purchase, right? It's not an annual lease like Carveco is.
Yeah, so I believe, don't quote me on it, but I believe like V-Carve desktop is $349.
Yeah.
Donate plasma for 3 months.
All right. So I don't know what Carveco Maker is. But
no, I got to use your affiliate code.
Well, there's also Carve 2D or whatever they call it.
Yeah,
like they have a whole progressive series of apps that all kind of do subsets of or supersets of the one before it.
Yeah, so what we're talking about, just to give you guys, Vectric is the software that, like from experience, I say all roads lead to Vectric eventually, just because it is the most intuitive, most powerful, easy to use hobby prosumer CNC software. And
can I stop you 1 second? Can I stop you 1 second? The software wise, other than the ease of use, what about a resource? Does it take a beefier computer or
no?
Nope. If anything, Carveco probably uses more resources, but
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty lightweight. I mean, I run it in a virtual machine almost all the time.
So the other, so the thing I was going to say is Vectric is is the company name, and they make, I don't know, 5 different levels of software, and it starts at Cut 2D, which is the cheapest, and it goes all the way up to Aspire, which is the most expensive. But the cool thing about it is you can start with Cut 2D, upgrade to the next one, which is V-Carve Desktop, and only pay the difference.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's a great licensing model.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, then you could get the license, get going, get your feet wet, start learning, make money. Don't take the money, put the money back in.
Yeah. You know what the other cool thing about their model is their trial. A lot of people don't know this, but their trial, you can download any level of software as their trial for free and use it like full featured. The only thing they prevent you from doing is exporting the G code.
Oh, wow. That's pretty crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, that's actually how I got into V-Carve. I downloaded their trial and played with it for a while. And went, wow, this is so much easier than anything else.
Steve's a software developer. He just cleans his registry and reinstalls it.
Something like that.
He's like, got you, buddy, got you.
I had a bit of a to-do with the Pro Colored guys on their use of this silly dongle that you plug in to lock your Pro Rip software to your computer, and it's like, come on.
They all do that.
Yeah, so Pro Colored is in their next release, which is coming soon. They're going to support the Mac, which is a real benefit because who does creative stuff doesn't own a Mac. And they're getting rid of the dongle requirement. Yeah, you're old school.
What RIP software are you using?
Pro Rip. They're whatever they provided to me.
Okay.
Works. I mean, at the end of the day, you're dropping something on a canvas and pushing a print button, right? So.
Yeah, I did the Atom stack. I got it set up yesterday, and got everything up and running, and it wouldn't work. And I'm like, what's going on with this? And I saw this little USB, and I thought that was software, right? And it was a dongle. It won't work without it put in.
Is it like a Bluetooth thing, or is it actually
no? It's like a
serial number manager type thing.
Yeah.
Huh.
I was like, that is so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand the reasoning there, but
Bigfoot lives in Oregon.
Well, I think he migrates according to season.
Bigfoot has been spotted anywhere there are drunk people.
Yeah.
So I forget what highway it is, but there was people who were putting silhouettes of them and put them into the trees, and now there's like tons of people call the cops all the time that are going to that area because it's like a local joke. Yeah, South Carolina.
Oh, so it's a 3018. You can use you could certainly start with cut 2D, which is kind of easilish, but
this is what I say: if they
give you a purchase, not a rental like you do with a lot of software.
If they did legit give you 30 days, if you can't make $300 in 30 days, there's a problem, right?
Yeah. So one cut 2D is $149.
Okay, right. So $149. So download the free version, the trial version, get working, and then pay for it. When the money comes.
Yeah, but you can't actually use it to engrave anything, right?
You can't.
Right. No, you can't generate G code.
Oh, I thought you said you couldn't export it, meaning like you couldn't save the G code.
No, you can't. You can do everything, but you can't actually use it.
So you can't send. You can't send the file. You can create. You can't send the file.
Yeah.
Oh.
But it does give you a real good feel for how the product works, right?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't know, man.
He just wrote, skipping down a little bit, he said, I did the free trial, but was ticked when I could not generate the G code.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're not going to give it away.
Right. Chris said, I'm a bias, but if you can hold out a few more Lightburn should be released millage.
I will remind everyone that they promised Millmage in Q1 of last year.
LTX Designs in the building.
Hey, LTX.
Welcome.
Still one of my favorite posts with the credit card for the OnlyFans.
I still haven't executed my revenge yet. There'll be something. Keep your head up, LTX.
That sounds like he was thinking on that for a while. He's up at 3:00 in the morning, look at the ceiling like, I'm gonna.
Well, yeah. What I've discovered as I get older, while I don't need less sleep, I get less sleep.
Start taking those blue pills and you go to sleep.
No, those are to keep you up.
That's what I said. Stop taking the blue pills and you'll go to sleep. Metric has free trials. Anyone have any questions, let us know. And if it's your first time joining the live, please let us know. And if you haven't already, let us know where you're joining us from.
For the benefit of everyone, I made a coaster today.
All right, hold on a second.
Look, it's well, no, then you're going to see that it's actually off center. See, man, that's weird. Okay, there we go. Nice cork coaster, flexible. So I make coasters.
Tell us how you did it.
It's DTF.
Well, I mean, what if someone doesn't know what that is?
Everyone knows what DTF is.
Nah, I mean, I know this much just from you talking about it.
Well, talk to Rick because I made this with DTF.
Nice.
Typically, it's used. Well, this kind of DTF is typically used for T-shirts.
Typically, when Steve says DTF, you mean something else.
Yeah.
That's the other channel, though.
No, that would be I'm DTF. This is DTF.
I was going to come up with an acronym.
Direct to film. So basically, you have this big roll of film on the back of what amounts to a fancy inkjet printer. You print on that, and then you heat press it onto something. It doesn't stick to everything, but it does stick to cork, as I discovered.
Nice.
So it doesn't stick to everything but metal.
Well, as I discovered, it didn't stick to a sublimation mug either. But the cool thing was I peeled it off and I stuck it to the printer. And it just kind of adhered there.
Static
You
clean.
can peel it off, but you have to pick at it.
DTF, Daddy thinks
Fun.
fun.
All right, guys, get creative.
We've already got some here. We got some in there.
Tom said the original
there
Bigfoot
you go.
fighting was in the U.S. was in Willow Creek. I'm eyeing up some old, awesome, gruely redwood once the park rangers are gone. LTX said we have to send one of those out to
I should have made a silver fox coaster. That's coming soon.
Chris said you can blame the beta testers for a millage delay. We keep making them add features.
That's good because it was pretty basic when I looked at it.
Yeah. First time viewer, thank you.
Right.
Welcome.
Yeah. Let us know where you're joining us from.
And if you just joined, you should know that we're going to give some stuff away in the not too distant future.
Yes.
As we do from time to time.
So before we went live, we were saying that everyone's been poking at me. You get your CNC yet? You get your CNC yet? And we had said that it's very common for these CNC companies. Just look at the Andy can't even hold it. It's very common for he's laughing because all these comments are for what does DTF stand for? But it's very common for these CNC companies to. I mean, we say it sometimes about lasers, but I think you're talking like a week, 2 weeks, right? Tops, 3 weeks tops. But a CNC manufacturer to tell you 12 to 14 weeks is like, that's pretty crazy.
See, the marketing spin on that is it's custom made just for you.
No, it's not. It's getting made in China, shipped to them, and then they're shipping.
I mean, in the case of a Onefinity, they probably have to line up a bunch of UPS trucks to get the thing delivered to you.
Yeah, so
like I said, every rail will be in a separate box.
They're probably using
in a separate box.
They're probably using
like 45 pounds, man. I mean, I could be over exaggerating, but it's pretty heavy. The spindle,
yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, spindle. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, spindle's a heavy duty thing, right? Especially, I think an air cooled one's probably a little heavier because
this one. No, this is water cooled.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's water cooled. Yeah, look, and I got the cool connectors.
Is that that's a 65 millimeter or an 80?
80.
Really?
It's
it looks
80,
smaller than mine.
80. The PNC, PWN CNC.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's just a rebranded something, but
yeah, I'm sure.
What size collet is on that? I think it's what is it? ER
20.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went online to their YouTube channel and I said, hey, because they were saying that they were recommending different types of hoses you connect to the water cooled, and pros and cons for each. Being honest, but basically saying like it comes with it, but we have 3 options. So I said on the video, well, which one comes with it? So they said, oh, when you order this kit, it comes with 40 feet of this hose. So I get it. It doesn't have the connectors for the hose, and the hose is not included. So I email them, and they're like, it doesn't come with it. Well, I send them a message on Facebook, and they're like, it doesn't come with it. So then I email them, and I screenshot YouTube, and they send me a tracking number.
So the interesting thing, and I don't know if they've changed this yet, but the one when I got the Elite, there's a drag chain on the back. It wasn't big enough to put the hoses in. So I made a bunch of 3D prints to allow me to put a bigger drag chain on it. And that moved a bunch of things out. So I had to print a new bracket over on the side and whatnot. But I was going to do a video on it, but I never got around to it. But my drag chain is big enough to hold the hoses too. So
nice.
If you run into that problem, let me know and I'll
print me up some stuff.
Get you, no, you can print your own. Do you have a 3D printer? Oh my god! We'll get Roger to print it for you. Then you can just drive to his place. If I send it to you, there's going to be like $1,000 of tariffs on it. So.
He's like, well. LTX9 said, I made my first post in Facebook group today. Been battling it out with a particular file on the inlay. Finally got it done.
Nice. Good job.
Sweet.
I don't think I saw it. Today was nuts for me at work today.
Yeah, there you go. Don't trust fools.
Don't trust fools.
Don't trust anyone, really. But
Down to fun.
down to fun.
Yeah, I can relate to that one.
Yeah, that's more my style.
Yeah.
Beam me up, laser engraving. The coaster passed the coffee cup test, Steve. Keep using it for coffee cup. Would be interested to see how long it lasts.
Yeah, well, I use it for the last couple of days. I've used it for my coffee here in my studio in the morning.
The way I see it is, if you can wash a shirt up to 150 times, your coffee's not going to.
I will point out that it was
point.
a 300-degree heat press for 40 seconds that put this thing on. So a cup of coffee is probably not going to bother.
Yeah.
I mean, a hot cup of coffee is 180, 170 degrees.
Yeah. Depends on which coffee maker you have, of course. Because
actually, Starbucks just got sued. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, 50 million.
Man,
because somebody bought a hot cup of tea and it was hot.
And they spilt it on him.
Man.
Oh, they spilt it on him? Well, that's different.
No, he spilled. I didn't read it, but the way it made it sound is it got spilt on
But
him.
when it was being handed out the window, one of the cups weren't in the holder correctly, and it spilled off on the guy that was in the car receiving it.
I don't know
And
if it's worth that kind of money, but it
50
definitely.
million.
Well, I
McDonald's-
guess he has now lost length and girth in certain parts,
Oh,
and
yikes!
that's what the big suit was over. And originally they offered like $3 million, and he says, "I'll take it if I get an apology." Well, they wouldn't give the apology, so now it's $50 million, and they still aren't going to apologize. But
A $47 million.
Hopefully, he didn't have to prove everything in court.
My
Probably.
mom, after my dad passed away, my mom had so many medical bills, expenses. She had to claim bankruptcy, and so we lost everything. We lost 3 houses. They took everything when she claimed bankruptcy except for $1,000, cars, houses. She lost everything.
Yikes.
So she went to Saturn. Now, mind you, right? What's the most expensive Saturn you could buy? And she bought a used Escort that was on the Saturn dealership, right? A year later, my sister totals the car. She's a teenager, girl driver who can't drive. And turns out the car had like 170,000 miles on it, but they told her it had like 6 or 8, something real low. And something ridiculous. So she goes into the Saturn dealership and says, "Hey, you guys told me it had, X amount of miles and has almost 200,000 miles on the car. The car's 2 years old or something." And she says, "All I want you to do is give my money back and let me pick any Saturn I want off the lot." Now, what do you think the most expensive Saturn is? I don't know, 30 grand. It's a Saturn, right? She got like 200 grand in that lawsuit. They laughed at her and told her to leave or they would call the cops. So
Yeah,
There you go.
Saturn's really just like a bunch of injection molded plastic, right?
There you go, DTF.
Yeah. Terrible at Fishing wants to have the best screen name.
I think
there you go.
Call that.
Another new member. Bam. How you like that one? Very cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
Andy, are you running the 8 horsepower or 4 horsepower on your Avid?
8.
What does that mean?
It's like 8.7.
Why do you need that much horsepower for CNC? Like, are you like CNCing granite countertops or something?
It's like diesel.
No. So the setup I got. Well, the story is that I traded my other CNC for this one. So, but this one is set up for like where it would thrive is like slab flattening. I mean, it can take a 3/4 inch shank bit.
What does it run on? 440?
So right now, so it's supposed to run on 220, 50 amp circuit.
At 8 horsepower? Wow.
But let me say this again, since I've got electricians here. So for the 8.7 horsepower, it takes 3-phase,
Right.
220. Does that make sense?
208, probably 3-phase.
Yeah. Okay. I don't have that in my shop, so I'm running on single phase, 220 or 220.
Yeah, it's 220 that way.
50 amp circuit, and so it reduces the horsepower to like 6.7.
Jeez.
Another option would be to get an open vector VFD, and that will give you your 3-phase out with single phase in.
Yeah, like one of those. It's basically like a mini transformer, right?
Oh, it's literally electronic.
Yeah.
Open vector variable frequency drive.
So I had one of those on my DTF printers when they first came out because they weren't made here, and they ran on weird, crazy currents. So they're like, you need this to do this. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Oh boy.
Yeah. So this. So think about like a 4-inch slab flattener bit.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have a 220-volt 50 amp circuit to charge my car.
Well, you can get an Avid and get the bigger spindle, and you're ready to go.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say you support Elon Musk?
I did before he went nuts.
Good one, Rick.
Well, I didn't specifically support him. I just needed a car that didn't burn lots of gas.
Are you going to go to, what's the other, are you going to go to, what's the one?
One in Mexico?
Rivian. Don't they make an electric vehicle?
Yeah. I'm sure there'll soon be 100% tariffs on those.
There's a company here in Illinois that they make cars. I forget what it's called though. It looked really kind of weird. Like futuristic looking. I saw a pickup.
I'm sure if I get to buy another electric car, it'll be like a BYD or something.
Yep. It'll be like a DIY and have to be put together.
Yeah. I don't know. If that was my choice,
UPS truck.
If that was my choice, I'd probably buy a Hyundai or something.
Here's the one thing I don't understand. Why can't we all had bikes as a kid? When you rode the bike, your headlight turned on, right? You rubbed the wheel.
Yeah,
why can't the damn car charge itself when it drives?
Good
Because
question.
that'd be a perpetual motion machine. They can't do that.
It kind of does. You get regenerative braking, right? So when you take your foot off the accelerator, it turns the motor into a generator and puts power back in the battery.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well that's cool. So it kind of does.
I mean, the advantage is you generally don't use the brakes, right? Like unless you're doing some kind of panic stop.
Y'all check the signs. So here we go. The Silver Fox is going to have Rick add a 3D printer to the stable.
If anyone can add a 3D printer to Rick's stable, it's going to be Roger. I use a 3D printer when I need something printed, as opposed to, it's Tuesday or Wednesday, I can just go print something. That seems to be Roger's model. It's just like his printers are always going.
All right, Steve, this one's for you.
No, that's not for me.
And sometimes I print just ridiculous things.
That's cool.
Now I know why Andy was dying laughing.
And then Roger holds up this long floppy thing.
Yeah, that's an articulated dragon, 3D printed.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Oh god.
So hey, that makes me think. I printed a just a file off Bamboo's, whatever. What do they call it? Maker something, whatever. Anyways, and it was this little alligator, right? And Roger, was that print? Did you print that? It's print in place, right?
Yeah.
And it blows my mind that you printed that. You did not assemble that.
Oh, it's printed. In fact, my other printers ended not too long ago. I can't zoom that camera, but there's a crab on one of them and another dragon on the other one, and they print just like that.
Yeah, show it. So you're printing flexible things, and it's just like they're joined together with basically, I don't know, they're printed like this.
It's print in place.
Print in place. And one of the neat things about this, and they're real popular at craft fairs and stuff, is because this is not something you can do injection molded. It literally has to be additive printing, because there's no way to injection mold that and have all that flexibility in there without having to assemble anything.
So how, from a design standpoint, I'd be really interested to see that file.
Yeah, Roger, if your girl was on right now, she'd have a field day with that little flopper you had showing.
The file, there's lots of these print in place type things, right? You can go to Thingiverse and you'll find
Oh yeah, there's a ton of them.
Yeah, like I said, I did a little alligator for my son, just messing around with it, and that's why I was super intrigued. I was like, this is really cool.
Where are you going, Rick? You didn't answer this question.
Oh, there's a comment. Just received my woodworker yesterday in UK with spindle. No ACT arrived though yet.
I think Mike / Mick nudge nudge wink wink is new as well. Yeah, so the ATC is actually built by Rapid Change, so they supply them separately, I guess. So who knows? Maybe you'll get it from them directly.
Yeah,
I still haven't sent him an email either. It's cool. So if you want to see the ultimate 3D printing shop, Roger, all of his Rapid Change tool changers are all 3D printed. And they look great. Like,
yeah.
The wildest print farm I have ever seen is owned by Prusa, because they 3D print all of their 3D printers.
Yeah.
And to see their print farm operation is just mind blowing.
I received
there's some YouTube videos that show it in action.
I received the PWN CNC, the rear vacuum for the spindle. It's 100% 3D printed.
Yeah.
And I was like, $250. Damn, I could have Roger make this.
That's why. So I looked at some of those.
This is not too impressive.
I looked at some of those and went, oh, they're just 3D printed. So I just designed my own.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even smooth. It looks like pretty rough. Like pretty rough. You must have printed in the fastest speed.
Well, they're probably printing them with like 0.3 layer height and.
They got a 0.6 nozzle or 0.8 nozzle.
Yeah, it's the same nozzle they use to print 3D houses or 3D print houses.
It looks pretty rough. It's not a smooth, nice finish at all. It looks pretty rough. Matter of fact, I can't even figure out how to put it together. I'm about to send them. Say,
okay, I want one of these tools. I want a 2.5-inch slab slayer. See, he does it with a 4 horsepower.
Oh, you can do it.
I was gonna say something,
but it's not an 8 horsepower.
But I mean, yeah, it's not the size of the spindle; it's how you use it.
Also, the speed you use it.
Yeah, they're different torque specs.
Well, if a 4 horsepower would go slower and easier, so.
Probably depends on the age of the spindle too.
You gotta put a hot 2 on that.
Yeah.
Andy plugs that spindle directly into the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, he's the reason we have to sell you guys electricity.
Andy has to ride one of those bicycles while it's running
really fast.
Nope. Andy's gonna turn on his CNC. We better fire up another reactor.
There you go. I like to see it. I'd like to see an 8-horse spindle on a 3018. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it would.
Because it'd be bigger than the 3018.
It would be bigger. Yeah, and I don't think the gantry could hold the weight. I mean, it probably weighs 5 times what that 3018 does.
You'd need to put some outriggers on the 3018 to keep it from tipping over too.
Yeah, I was really surprised how heavy that was. I think that thing's like 40 pounds.
Yeah, they're beefy. They're beefy.
Yeah. Ray said, "This is a new name. I don't recognize this name."
Yeah, welcome, Ray.
Ray, you wanted boxes ordered on Avid CNC. LOL.
Order an Avid, yeah. It's so basically the UPS guy empties his whole truck. That's his only delivery for the day.
Yeah, the Onefinity is kind of like that. It's not probably not quite that bad, but when the UPS guy brought my Onefinity Elite, he backed right up to my garage door and he opened up the truck and he just went, "This is all yours."
I wonder what the driver thinks. Like, what the hell did this dude order?
Oh, 100%.
Well, I've gotten to know my UPS guy, and every time he brings a laser or something, like one time he actually asked me, because I had to help him carry the thing in because it weighed, I don't know, it was heavy. And he said, "Okay, I got to ask, what is this thing?" I said, "Oh, it's a laser." So every time he comes now, he drops a box. He goes, "Another laser for you."
So I got about 100-foot long driveway. And the UPS used to park in front of my house, and they hated me because they'd walk all the way to my door. And I'm like, dude, like, I drive 3,500 trucks, big buckets. Like, you ain't gonna hurt my driveway. You know what I mean? Like, just drive down. And they were like, "Oh, we're gonna hit a branch." So I cut like 3 branches, so that they weren't concerned they were gonna hit the truck.
Well, here's what you need to invest in right here.
There you go.
A 1940s forklift. This is the prototype. This is the original prototype for forklift.
You have no idea how close you are on the year of that. That's a 1950 tow motor.
Yeah. Does this run on propane?
Yeah, looks
Yep.
like
It was. I didn't do the conversion. Somebody else did, and it still runs off a 6-volt battery too. But
that's awesome.
it does the job.
Yeah.
And it's never going to get a flat tire because it's just basically a piece of rubber around a big solid steel cast iron rim.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no shock absorbers on it, including on the seat. So if you hit, we got one place in our driveway, it's a pretty good little bump. It'll rattle your teeth when you go over it.
Yeah. Let's take science. International is bringing back the Scout back in truck and SUV for EV.
Yes.
EV brought International.
Huh.
Yeah, things are going to be changing in the car market for sure. We'll see what's going on. I just saw Dodge. Majority of the Dodges in our area in Winter, Illinois, they're now selling 21% below MSRP.
Wow.
I'm literally going to go buy a new truck. My truck's a 22. I can get a 25 and my payment will go up $40. So screw it, I'm going to do it. But the only thing that sucks is I have the Hemi. I have a Laramie, so it's like every option. And I have the Hemi, but they eliminated the Hemi now. They got that inline 6 twin turbo 6. So I don't know how much I'm gonna like that not having a Cummins, but what are you gonna do? It does Reagan. What is it?
Regenerative braking.
Regen braking.
Yeah, talking about the
car.
Electric cars, yeah.
My 3D printers are going most of the day.
Mine are too. I'll have them all running all night. I don't have them running generally when we're on this live stream because of the noise.
Yeah.
My lasers run all day. My 3D printer runs when I break something I designed that wasn't built well enough.
That makes sense. And my 3D printers for jigs and tools, bench dogs, since I use a lot of those. You know what I've been seeing is a lot of people saying that they like to 3D print all the jigs for the CNC because if you hit it with a bit, it doesn't ruin it. You just run it.
And you don't care, right? Because you can print another one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you definitely care less. That's what I did on the Shapeoko. I printed a corner bracket, right? Like, so, my 0, the bottom left sits in that side every time. And if I actually did hit it, one of the first times cutting all the way through, got into it a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, well.
Driver's friend again.
Carry on.
Yeah, that's definitely cool. Yeah, LTX said, Andy, check out Clock Spring 3D.
Clock Spring 3D.
Has some crazy file.
Yeah.
Never heard
I'll tell you what, 3D printing is just wild. It's mind-blowing. Over the last, couple of years, files and people are extremely talented, and what you can do with the 3D printer is just mind-blowing.
So my thing is the 3D printer is cool, but what about the 3D scanners? Now, if you could have a 3D scanner and you compare that with a 3D printer, that's like a whole nother level, right?
Yeah, they don't work all that well though.
No,
there's a lot of people that have tried it, and
There's
some that work kind of so, but they're not.
Like
technology's not there yet.
Yeah, if you're 3D scanning a car, it works great. If you're 3D scanning something like I wanted to do, like a chess piece, forget it. It's too small.
So the little caveat to that is the higher end ones that are used in commercial and industrial settings, but they're a lot of money.
Yeah, because I know at my work, I can't say the name of the company, but we have a thing called the Think Lab. And it's basically a bunch of engineers who just get paid to make things that are crazy, right? And one of the things they have is they have this thing that's a 3D scanner. It's like, I don't know, 4 feet, 5 feet by 5 feet. They can stick anything in there and scan it, and they can make it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but it's probably $100,000 machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a little beyond my budget.
Come on, Steve. Put your money bags, man.
I know I could rent out my garage to somebody for 18 years, and then I could
Jim, better late than never. Better late than never.
Hey, Jim.
LTX9 said, when the PNC boot dust breaks, you should get the Raptor or Nighthawk from
Sulfide
Designs. Way better dust collector. You know, I haven't put it together. If it's that much better, I can send it back, because I tell you what, I can't even figure out how to put it together. Like, the parts don't seem like they line up like the picture. I'm like, what is this? I don't know. I was not impressed. And the other thing is that they show it like in the video, like it has a magnet on the bottom. So if you want to take a recording, you could take off the whole entire and it's just a straight piece of straight piece of brushes. So I'm like, how does that even stay in there? Because there's not even. So I don't know. For $250, it definitely not seem worth it to me.
Yeah, I don't think I have a picture of mine. Oh, there's one there actually. It's not very good, but
I'm gonna screenshot this so I can look at that boot. Might just send that back. If it's that better, much better. The whole idea though is I wanted it to be a rear with the front, because I thought if I was recording,
yeah,
a rear boot would be out of the way.
Yeah, so I did mine in the front. Here, let me share this.
Starting to wonder what the theme of the night is.
Oh, we never seem to have a theme.
Yeah, tonight.
Don't ask, don't tell.
There you go.
Oh, boy. So I designed this one. Now up on the Z-axis for those of us who speak English, you can pull this orange piece off. It's just held on there with magnets, so it's very quick one tug removal. You can also remove the bottom piece there where the duct is and the brush underneath. You can pull that out as well. So it works.
Yeah,
you can see the little nick in the back of it there. I actually touched it with a much bigger tool bit than it was designed for.
How does that work with your rapid change there? Does it get in the way at all?
So I actually take it off when I'm. So the rapid change software I worked with them quite a bit to solve this problem. And there's actually a step when it wants to change tools. There's actually a step there that says remove your dust collector. It does the change, and then it pauses again to say put it back.
That's smart.
Yeah. Although the new rapid change, the one that they ship with the Onefinities, it's I think it might be, I don't know if you get the round. Oh, you didn't get a tool changer, did you, Rick?
No.
Yeah, I think it's the round one. So
I mean, if it gets for
and it actually, they have a dust boot designed for it. So it doesn't get in the way.
Let's see. So hold on a second here. He just shared with us what the Avid looks like. Let's see. So you can
Delivered,
see.
yeah. I have a picture somewhere with boxes that show up. But most of it's the 80-20, right? A lot of 80-20 boxes.
There you go. That's it.
Yeah, you'll well, you won't get that many individual boxes with a Onefinity, but you'll get about that much.
What's up with the Toyota, man? Or what is it?
That's a
Honda.
So this has been sitting right here. You see this in the bottom corner here.
What is it?
So the
Are you 3D? Are you laser cutting an old truck?
yes.
An International?
No, it's a file. I didn't design the file. I'm not that skilled. I bought the file. But so I've been taking a little break from work the last week and doing things that I like to do.
Nice.
Or just different things. So this is one of them. And it's like a puzzle because the instructions, there's no instructions. It's just pictures. And so I have to find the piece And then it's like a camping truck. I wish I could show you. Here's the back, but
nice.
And of course, because there's no instructions, if your laser isn't perfectly calibrated, nothing fits together.
So I will say the one thing they did, and it's actually was on the listing, like where I bought the file. I had to go back and look how they set it up. They actually did a good job on material thickness, but that's where they stopped. Like there's nothing more than that. Just like Progressive Pictures, and it's like, let me see, it's all over the floor right here, but.
Yeah, wonderful.
But that brings me to my point. Like, so I think it's good. I'm learning this. It's good to take a break sometimes. And, the interesting thing about making is, I don't know if we ever talked about this, but I think we've all been there is, you start making things and building things for fun. And then I turned it into my career. And so, although I am very blessed to be able to do that for a living, it's still work. And I didn't replace my hobby with anything. I didn't come up with a new hobby. So anyways, I just kind of taking some time to just kind of decompress a little bit. I think it'll be good for everyone, including myself.
I try to say that about OnlyFans, but I do not believe him.
Can't take a break?
What?
No, but it's just not fun anymore.
Always live all the time.
I thought that's how the whole reason I took a break is that's how he was decompressing was OnlyFans. So I was like,
yeah. No, I had, when I decompressed, what I'm doing now is my decompression. When I had a day job, my boss came to me one day, like you'll discover this as you get older.
Oh, I have a lot to learn.
You get less and less. Well, you don't have a real job. You got a self job, right? So It's different. It's not like your boss comes to you and chews you out.
He's married. Remember that.
But
I will say,
but one day, about almost 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years at the end of April. My boss came to me and said, "I want you to go to North Carolina." And I said, "Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because I'm leaving." That was it. It was the last straw. There will be a last straw.
Yep.
And so I took up this. This is, and like I said, I built today. I had to build 30 sets of Lamacoid signs for electricians, and that was work. It was like, it's a good thing I have multiple lasers because that one is just going to go, and I don't want anything to do with it.
So I've worked for the man and I've worked for myself.
There, 196 days for Clack.
There you go, Clack. I will say, and I've heard this from several people, that the worst boss you'll ever work for is yourself.
Oh yeah, I'm brutal.
Hey, Clack, since you're on it, go ahead.
If I treated people the way I treat myself, I wouldn't have any employees.
Human rights violations, yeah.
Clack, I have a question for you since you're in the live. Your Atom Stack craft, did you align the camera in Lightburn or did you run it as is out of box?
So while he's answering that question, one more thing. Someone make me big. I want to show you something really cool.
I don't think we can do anything about you not being big.
Come on, man. I was hoping there was a solution. So anyways, these are super cool. Something I just discovered. Again, I'm kind of doing this as like discovery too. Like these doors. So this is all laser cut. These doors actually open and close. And there's the joint in there that makes that happen. I was just like, that is super cool. It's kind of hard to see. But even like the doorknobs here, the doorknob, I can't find it. Everything's reversed here. It moves. So I'm actually pretty impressed so far. Oh, and the hood raises. Again, I didn't design that. It's way beyond my capabilities, but someone did, and I'm super impressed.
Yeah, I mean, some people go to great lengths to design things.
Yeah,
but
it's
Andy,
wild.
some people are super crazy about like those old international pickups.
Yeah,
They'll pay big bucks for something like that.
yeah.
These
So
old-time farmers and stuff, they like stuff like that.
I don't know where we are in the feed here, Rick.
Let's see. We were here. Said I used to be able to pick a penny off the floor. I got a funny forklift story. So we all know I'm a lineman, and we get called out at 3:30 in the morning, and they have all the reels organized, by length and this and that, depending what you're going out. You're not just allowed to grab whatever you want, right? If you don't need 500, they don't want you to ruin a reel by pulling 500, and then you make a reel like an uneven amount. You want to get close to what you need. So we get there, and there's like 7 guys standing around there. So what's taking so long? They says, we're not allowed to touch the reels. That's somebody else's job. So guess what they made us? Forklift certified. Hired a company, they came out and
put you in the union.
I actually probably still have my forklift certification card somewhere.
Yeah.
I was actually certified to run a forklift at a nuke plant.
Yeah. Volkswagen buys car brands like Microsoft buys companies.
Yeah, the quest to be the biggest.
So I just dropped the link to that file. Zentero asked about the link where I got that file for that truck. It's just an Etsy. So
Chris said you need a special skill set to get good results with a 3D scanner.
Yeah, that must be the case because I clearly don't have it.
LTX9 said, I went from a 1 PNC dust boots and kept breaking, switching Nighthawk, and never went back. Yeah, I took a screenshot of that. I'll take a look. And like I said, I haven't connected it yet. So if it looks that much better, I'll probably just send it back because I'm definitely not impressed by it. To me, it looks too DIY. What did I say? DIY?
DIY.
Not DEI.
Yeah.
Not D. That's
Not
something
DIY.
different.
That's a different hot topic right now. But LTX said the Raptor, you can pull the front off and film your cut and still have dust collecting. Oh, that's cool. We're at the same time. I think that's the route. How much is it by any chance? Let me just Google it.
See, that's why I made the one I made. That's why I made the bottom part pull off, because you can just lift the tool bit and then slide it out, and then it's all open. Right. So
I'll have to take a look at that offline.
It's very easy to take apart. Now, if I was doing it again, though, I would put the output on the back.
He said there's 20 people watching on Steve's feed.
Only 20? I weep for myself. I weep for everybody who's missing it.
Keep in mind that when you're seeing the count, we're on each one of each other's lives, and we're on multiple social medias at the same time.
It seems like the bulk of people come from Facebook, actually.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I stopped posting live on Facebook, and I started posting the live to YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Because my Facebook is monetized, and Facebook said they want me to start posting my videos directly to YouTube. So whatever. I listen because it makes you more money. Zento, I used to have the same flipping. What did you say? I used to do the same flipping at $1 a coin.
I've seen guys do that. I've never tried it.
No. 196 days.
Let's go.
You're almost down to.
All right, Andy, you're up.
Yep. Gord asked if I could share the link for that truck. I did share it. Rick, can you put it up on the screen? I don't know if you can jump down.
Yep.
There it is. It's just an Etsy listing.
So if you guys are on your cell phone, if you screenshot it and you have an iPhone, you can actually copy the text when you screenshot text.
There you go.
There you go.
Or if you are it's probably in my chat, right? On YouTube. Is that the only place that they can see it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So if you go to my YouTube channel and look at the live chat, you can copy and paste it from there as well.
Yep.
I've been meaning to ask you, Andy. Every week after this live stream, I get a copyright strike for you on my channel. Only you. I don't. And it's. I was wondering what you did, like whether you're doing something different.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Every week I get my weekly Andy copyright strike.
You should start reporting them, Andy.
I should. No, he's taking my content.
He's copying you.
Yes.
Andy, did you just monetize the live?
No.
I don't know that. Where?
Let's see. We go back to. That's interesting. Like, so are they sending you an email or?
Well, it just pops up in Studio and YouTube.
I get it from all of you, but I just tell it to ignore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't get it from anybody.
Yeah. It says the exact video, whatever, has been uploaded.
Yeah.
Clack says, always run camera calibration. The slightest inconsistency is a calibration expert. It can make a big difference. No, I get it, but I saw in your video you said it was pretty accurate, so I wasn't sure if you just ran it right outside the box. I tried running calibration. It's giving me some hard time. Kevin said, good evening, everyone. Anyone have any questions? Let us know. Post them in the comments below.
Hey, is Kevin's a new name on the list here too?
Yeah,
Kevin's been here.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's one of your crowd?
Yeah.
A CNC dude.
Zento said, now we need to drop the affiliate link for the truck file. Is it an affiliate link?
It's not an affiliate link. It's just a link.
But you can send them a YouTube tip. How about that?
There you go. You can send me a YouTube tip. No pressure.
Clark said, put painter's tape on the light bars when doing it. They should add. Oh, okay.
Or can you just turn the lights off?
No. It has LED strips on both sides. So basically, when I turned it on, it says,
so does the Acmer, but you can turn the lights off if you want.
It says put the test pattern. Well, I stuck it back in the laser. Put the test pattern, all the way to the fence in the front, all the way to the back, and it's gonna. If it's 0.3 or less, it's good. It's like 8,000. And then I keep moving it, and it gives me a good score. I'm right under the camera. I'm like, dude, it said to be all the way in the back. Like, so how is this?
Okay, I hate to call out the obvious here, but it's their laser, and they've made it impossible for you to calibrate their camera unless you have a roll of blue tape. That seems wonky to me. You sure there's not a switch somewhere you can turn off?
No, the only switch is I'll turn it around.
Or pull the plug. Pull the plug on the light strip.
The only switch is right there, and that's the emergency off switch.
No, there's a couple. So on the Acmer, there's a couple of like really small switches, like micro switch type things.
Nope. It's the only switch on the whole entire machine. Other than on the front, that's literally the three different lasers.
See, if I was doing a review in my list of cons, that would be one of them.
To turn the light off. Yeah, and they're pretty bright, so I didn't even think of that. So good call, Clack. I'll try some loose painter tape to see if that helps.
Who's that guy? We don't need that guy.
Multicraft said, when I cut a tray on the CNC, it leaves a horizontal ring on the inside walls. Are my steps too big?
Andy has a video on this.
I do. So
I watched it again just the other day, actually.
Did you?
Yeah.
Sweet. That video is a couple years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes. So my technique for trays is to do two different step overs. So step over is how far the bit is moving over before it takes its next pass. Think about it as like how big of a bite it's taking. So if you go too wide, you're going to have ridges or marks in between your basically your passes. So the way to do that is to shrink your step over, take less steps, or take less distance in your step. But that takes a long time. So if you're going down, like say a 1/2 inch in a tray, the closer your step over, the longer your tool, the longer your job is going to take. So what I like to do is if I'm going to go a 1/2 inch deep, then I'll go my roughing pass will be 0.45 at a 75% step over, which is really aggressive. and then I'll come back for the last 0.05 and do a less than 10% step over of the width of my bit. So
to speed the process up, you take the bulk of it off and go back with a cleaning pass.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but if you tried to do it all in one pass, it just take way too long.
Are you
better off just taking the bulk of it off and going back? And
Yeah.
So when you go down a half an inch, you're doing that in one pass?
No, I'm not doing one pass.
You don't have an 8 horsepower.
That's probably why you need an 8 horsepower spindle.
I was gonna say you don't have 8 horsepower.
So I was gonna say with that CNC, I probably could.
He didn't mention it runs on diesel, did he?
So the interesting when I went from the Shapeoko, that was my experience, right, for 3 years, and then I jumped to the Avid, and not to this Avid, to the 4x4 Avid, which is a 4 horsepower. Still a major jump up, right? I went from like a palm router to something prosumer. I broke so many bowl and tray bits that it was not funny. Like, so I actually switched to a 1/2 inch shank bowl and tray bit, even though the diameter of the cutting diameter is 3/4 of an inch. The shank is a 1/2 inch.
Yeah, that's what I have too.
Yeah.
So you're not breaking it.
I have a few 1/2 inch bits, and certainly the bit I use to level the workspace, that one is a 1/2 inch, because then you can just hog right through the thing.
Yep.
But also my bowl bit is 1/2 inch.
Yeah,
I use regularly. I have a couple of others too, but
when my spindle showed up, my wife says, "So you mean to tell me that you're buying things for a CNC that's not here yet?" And I'm like, "No."
It's in the queue.
It's in the queue. Yeah.
I said no. I just said no.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to have cake or something when you get it.
Yeah. Jump that LTX is asking a follow-up question to the toolpath question here when you get down there.
It was always here.
There we go. So LTX is asking Multicraft, are you doing a separate last pass? That's what I do to clean up and minimize sanding. So separate last pass is different because typically that's used on a profile toolpath, which is cutting the out, like basically cutting your project out, the outer edge. And a do separate last pass is you can set an offset in there, like it's usually like 0.02 or something like that. And what the bit will do is, so you know how you step down incrementally, right? As you're cutting, let's say you're cutting through an inch material, you're taking it at, this is going to depend on the CNC, right? But let's say hypothetically you're taking it at 1/4 of an inch. What it's going to do is it's going to offset out 0.02 inches. And then its last pass, it's going to do a full depth last pass to your back in 0.02 to get a nice clean cut. So it reduces sanding on your edges.
So that's the one I thought you were going to talk about. That's the one I watched recently because I had this problem and I was like, damn it, how do I do this? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. Andy did some video on this.
Yeah, I did do a video on that too. Yeah.
I couldn't remember it.
So Andy, can you explain when you would do one versus the other and what's the advantage of one versus the other?
So, well, you would... How do I say this? So I think you should always do it on your profile toolpaths.
Always do what?
You should always, so in Vectric software, there's when you're setting up your toolpaths, there's a box you can click that says do separate last pass. And it literally means exactly what it says. So do a separate last pass. So the problem that you're fixing is when you are cutting, again, let's just picture you're cutting a circle out, right? And you want to go all the way through your material, like to cut that circle out. A lot of CNCs, I'm getting into, so you're going to take it at like your depth of cut. Let's say your depth of cut is 1/4 of an inch. So you have an inch material that you're going to cut that circle out. You're going to take 4 passes. You're going to go around 4 times, just like a laser, right? You're going to do multiple passes to cut through the material. So what happens is when you cut through incrementally like that, at every 1/4 of an inch, you're going to have a tool mark. And so to get rid of those tool marks, because, basically caused by deflection, because that bit is actually bending just very, very little, but you can still see it in the wood on your edges. So if you want to clean that up without sanding it, you click do separate last pass. And what it'll do is it'll do its 4 passes, and then it'll come back and it'll do one final a separate last pass with according to the offset that you set. So it'll move in 0.02 inches. So it's just taking off just 0.02, right? And just enough to clean all that tool deflection up on your edges. So you're not sitting there with your sanders trying to sand all those marks out. Did I explain that well?
I'd say it was clear as mud, but
that's really hard to explain, like without a visual.
I get it. Yeah, it's one of these things you just have to screw up a few times and learn, right? Like,
yeah. So if you want to get rid of your tool marks, if you cut out any shape on the outside and you look at it, I wish I had an example.
You do have an example. Go watch that video.
Yeah, go watch the video. So let's say when you were cutting out this, right? There would be tool marks on this edge right here. And to get rid of those tool marks, you can click do separate last pass, set an offset in there. There'll be a little box in Vectric, put in 0.02 inches, and you'll have a nice clean surface that saves you time sanding.
Nice. Multicraft said I was a cut rocket file and did not have the last pass. It makes sense now.
Cool. I'm glad it makes sense. Anything, especially think about like a circle is a kind of a bad example because those edges are kind of easy to sand. But think about like an interior cut, right?
Yeah.
Where it's really hard to get to sand inside there. You can really save yourself a lot of time on those. So
my inverter / surge protector showed up for my CNC. It has a $325,000 cover policy. So my whole thing is,
does it cover your house too? Like
any equipment that's plugged into it.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is that, like, even if you don't want to buy my whole thing, you don't want to go down the rabbit hole and watch why you should have one. If you have that and you register it and you do take a strike on your house, you know how much that could save you on your insurance? Like, all of our, like, I don't unplug anything. Do you unplug your stuff? No. And our power is so dirty. If you took a brownout or you took a hit, Roger knows, right?
We got a whole house suppressor here, and it's a big one.
Right.
So how much does something like this cost?
$500.
It's not bad, actually.
No, $500. No. So what it does is it for one, it is a UPS, and that's not what we're using it for. The reason I like UPS is because whenever you turn the motor on, it's the amp draw, right? That initial that it grabs. If you're at that threshold because you got multiple things plugged in, it'll draw from the battery, so it'll never trip your breaker. So the spindle is 1.5, right, or 1,500 watts or whatever. You just match it, pair it with what your spindle, whatever it is. But 900, 1,000 watt, 1,500 watt, whatever it is. So I've paired that with my spindle. And then the other thing is I keep hearing from other people is that if you had your dust collector and your CNC plugged in on the same breaker, that sometimes it's like backfeeds and causing problems, and it makes your CNC skip a step. So if it's going through that power conditioner, it's conditioning the power and it won't have that happen. And also that by running that CNC all day, that is probably a larger appliance in your home that's using power. And by leveling out your power, it's actually using less electricity, and it's easier. It's better on the equipment. It'll last longer. So
yeah. Do you have? Are you going to run this thing on you got a 20 amp circuit or 15?
20 amp.
Yeah, 15 would be cutting it pretty close.
No, 20 amp.
But if you had a UPS in between, you'd probably manage to get the thing started. It draws a lot of current when it starts.
Right. But that's the whole idea to me with using it. So I have the little CNC on 1,000 watt, and then the big CNC on a 1,500. But all my lasers, everything, all my computer, everything. I have a server rack set up. Everything in my house that's expensive is plugged into one. I'd love to do a whole house like Roger has. Man, it's expensive.
Yeah, it's a little more than $500.
Yeah.
So you all think I'm crazy that I don't have any of that set up?
100%.
It's okay.
Roger, what do you think?
I don't either. I do on all my computers. I don't on lasers and CNCs and things.
What do you think, Roger?
We have a lot of electronics here. We have 2 servers. We've got 9 computers. Of course, I've got all these 3D printers, and we've got a big commercial copy machine. We've got a big screen TV, of course. And, I'd rather have the electronics protected.
So, like protection rate, like setting it up like that, like
it's ridiculous high. You could take a pretty high strike, and you're covered. But like I said, the whole idea of the obvious is the surge protection. But what most people don't talk about is not just the surge protection, it's the leveling or the cleaning of your power, because our power is so dirty, right? So your equipment's going to get a better power source, and by getting a better power source, it's actually going to lower your draw, which actually will lower your bill. And when you do those, believe it or not, that's a hard pull on your lines. Even everything takes that pull, right? So by kind of just leveling that out, it's better for your house. It's better for the equipment in your house. It's better for the equipment itself. It's just win. There's no lose situation about it.
Yeah, it's probably something I need to look into, at least for some things.
Every large piece of equipment that's expensive, if you don't have what Roger has, like the whole house, you should have one on it. At the end of the day, if you want to spend $5,000 in a CNC and you won't buy a $500 something to protect it from your most vulnerable point is the power, there's something wrong. You know what I mean?
Or just unplug it, right?
Right. Yeah, or you could unplug it, right? But even when you're using it, you don't know if there's a brownout, especially in the summertime, right? Everyone running their air.
Yeah.
That little bloop, that little blip, So yeah.
Our servers are on a UPS. In addition to the whole house surge suppressor here, I have UPS on a couple different things around here.
Yeah, I don't have the brownout issue. My power's pretty clean here, but our power will go out occasionally because we get a hurricane now and then. So I have a bunch of UPSs that just keep things alive long enough for the generator to kick in.
Yeah, I
have a house generator.
I won't even know that it turned on. I'll just hear that noise. You hear
I turned the noise off. I can't stand that feeling.
It just goes click. It makes like a click. So you didn't even know that the power went out for a second, but it just click and everything just keeps running like it was, and you just hear it click.
Yeah. Can you send me? Can you send me a link?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yep.
Yeah, in my studio here, everything that I could keep recording, basically, I wouldn't notice.
That's nice.
Yeah. So the only thing you have to do, and remind you that I only use the top 2 brands, and the only reason I switched from APC is because once you go over 1,000 watt, to go over 1,000 watt APC is like commercial, and it's like whoa. So I switched brands, but I don't think one is better than the other. I think it's like Ford, Chevy, right? So I won't go down that road. So if it's under 1,000 watt, I have APCs. If it's over 1,000 watt, I have a different brand. But
Amazon Basics.
What's that?
Amazon Basics.
Yeah. But
that's his chosen brand.
Yeah, exactly. It's from all.
They're the guys who create the brownouts in the first place.
It's from all these. I'll drop. I'm sure I'll get a ton of messages. I'll drop a link in our Facebook group. Hey, speaking of, if you've made it this far in the live and you're not a member of our Facebook group, make sure that you do join. Check it out.
Getting close to 400 now.
I think we're over that. Are we?
Oh, then we must have had a surge.
Let me see. Let me check.
We were at 373 last week, I think.
393.
Well, we're so close.
7 away
Right.
from 400. So if
Hey,
you're
we
not
need-
a member, come on, man.
Okay,
We
now
need 7.
you took the message away that I had popped up there. Oh, here we are. It's this guy
We need 7 of you to join. Let's go over 400.
looking for a fume extractor for a fiber laser. I so hate these fume extractor questions. One that can run for long periods of time. So any of them can run for long periods of time. Whether they extract fumes for long periods of time is a challenge. Right?
So this is what I would say. Right behind me, I built this. I created a short, but I haven't built the whole video. It's just 3 30mm fans and a 30mm fan in the back.
30mm? Those look like 75 or 120mm fans.
Are they? 120? The bigger ones?
Big
What
ones.
are the 120? Yeah, 120s. They're the bigger ones. They go on like the back side, but they're 110. They're not they're 110 fans. Maybe they're 120.
In the bottom of my big CO2 laser, I have 3 of those things exhausting the cavity.
Right.
And there's a hood like some ducting, and on the top up by my workspace there's a thin slot that like is literally like a quarter of an inch wide. I'm pulling one of these signs off today, and three of them pop up, and I watch them and they go whoop, right into the hole, and it's like, and I hear all kinds of grinding noise. And Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds that the thing would pop up and land there?
The only reason that I'm saying that is because I have an atom stack, extractor that I was about to do the review on. I have an extractor on my Monport K40. If you're using an extractor and because you want to clean the fumes before you blow it outside your home, because it is outside your home or your place of business, I understand. But when you're using a fiber laser, you're doing metals and you're breathing that small particles, believe it or not. And I'm saying because I'll take my air hose and I'll turn that fan on and I'll blow it. You would not believe how much stuff, if I go outside, all those little metal particles, that would be in your lungs if you're not using it. So by having all those fans, it's a little loud, but man, I tell you what, it works. So it's worth doing it. And I would only use a fume extractor as like no external exhaust if I was like at a crafts fair or something like that and I had no choice. And it's better than nothing. Yeah. But if I had the opportunity to externally vent, I always would.
Yeah, if there's a way to vent externally, do that.
Right.
Lumberzack.
Yeah,
I think Lumberzack has a pretty cool name.
He does. Zach. Zach says you can imitate the last pass function with a separate duplicate tool path at full depth and only take off a couple thou. Yep, same concept. Does that make sense? So you duplicate your tool paths, and then so your first one is set up at like your 0.25, your quarter of an inch depth of cut. Duplicate that one and change it to a full depth cut. So you're only doing one pass, but you're moving in a couple thousandths. So 0.02.
Yeah, see, Clack said all my toys have their own UPS. The one on the seat doesn't last very long, but saves me on big jobs from a flicker. Exactly.
Yeah, really, that's what you're trying to most recover from, right? Is just a drop in the line voltage.
Right.
That's enough to do something wonky. Take out the controller, like just reboot it or do something crazy. So
I may be like anal with that kind of stuff because my job is to modernize our power grid.
Right.
And I run a lot of reports that say the efficiency levels in our power. So I know behind the scenes stuff that most people don't have access to. So I know how beneficial it will be, So it doesn't make a difference to your refrigerator, right? But to a precision machine that's the current slight fluctuation, it definitely can make a difference.
So here's a question for you. Let's say, hypothetically, because this scenario could happen, let's say you have a UPS, right? Mm-hmm. That is on your CNC machine. Power goes out your lights aren't on a UPS.
Right.
Your machine's still running in the dark.
Yep.
Is that a worry?
No.
I'd
Your
be kind of worried about that.
Your laptop's on a battery, right?
Yeah,
No, he's not worried about the machine.
I know,
he's
but what
worried
I'm saying
about feeling around in the dark.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is your laptop's on a battery, your CNC's on a battery, and unless you live in a real backwood rural area, even if you did have a power outage, unless it's like a drunk driver hits a pole in front of your house, right?
Right.
We restore power within 3 hours. You know, and that's for like a drunk driver hit the pole and knocked out 3 poles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But otherwise, our power is like 98.8%. That's what you want to be.
It was a scenario in my head of like, having a machine running. Like you could do the same thing with table saw, right? Like, let's say you have it on your table saw, power goes out, it's still running, but
Yeah, this is an interesting dilemma, right? Like certainly on a table saw, if the power goes out, I'm quite happy if the table saw stops.
I am too.
But realistically, a CNC is no different, right? Like I would want that baby to stop if I'm standing in the dark.
Right.
That's the advantage, like with a table saw, with having what they call a magnetic starter on it. Is if your power goes out and the saw stops, if you don't have a magnetic starter to drop that connection off, and the power comes back on, so does the saw.
Yeah.
So I've had something not exactly like this, but okay. So when I was in my basement shop, right? It's just a walkout basement. That's where I started woodworking, and like power. I didn't have enough circuits. I know everybody probably deals with this, like having enough circuits for all your power tools and loading them up, and so I was actually running the table saw. It happened to the table saw once, and it happened on the I was planing some wood one time, and I popped the breaker, and so the machine stopped, right? But in the planer, the wood was still in the middle, and if you don't remember to shut off the switch and you go flip that breaker back on, it's going to start right back up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the ability to ramp up, right? It's starting from, like, it has contact with wood.
Well, it probably stalls.
Yeah. So the other thing is, like, I flipped it on with the table saw. Like, obviously I didn't have wood in it. I wasn't around it, but I didn't turn it off. And I go downstairs after flipping the breaker off, because it's in the garage. The breaker box is in the garage. The table saw was running when I got downstairs. It's like, oh, yeah, that's where I left off.
Is the cat still there?
Yeah.
So I
don't know. I'd probably want my CNC to stop. Yeah, I might screw up a project, but
right. But what I'm saying is that the whole idea of is that yes, it is a UPS, but to me, I'm not using it because I want my CNC to run when the power goes out. I'm using it because when I had that initial amp draw, I don't want to ever trip anything, right?
Yeah.
Especially like you said, you're on that threshold, or I could be at that threshold. The other thing is that I'm using it as a power conditioner to condition my power to be able to have, the best power source that I could possibly have.
No, I think it's a definitely a thought worth.
Right. And then the other flip side, it is a surge protector, right? So if you do get a surge, it's protecting it. And for some reason you take the hit, it's 300. What is it? I'll look at it right now. I thought it was 325,000. That's insane. It has a 3-year warranty, $375,000 equipment guarantee. $375,000. Like,
I don't have that much equipment.
No, but what I'm saying is it's $545, $375,000. So, and we're not talking about, like you said, it's not a Amazon brand, or you didn't pick it up at Aldi's, right? It's a reputable brand. Like,
so how does, being completely naive here, how do you hook something like this up? You
literally plug it in.
You plug it in the wall and you plug your stuff into the UPS.
That's
just
it.
a fancy power bar.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, if you want to get geeky into it, like, it has all kinds of crazy displays on the front. You can hook it to your computer, hook it to Cat 5. Like, you could run reports. You could see all kinds of power analysis, like it lets you see some crazy stuff that Roger and I probably don't understand, but you know.
I used to do power quality for some pretty big industrial customers, so I know all about power quality and oscillatory transients and harmonics, and I know all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I just want it to work when I turn it on, okay?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that all I'm saying is that you know, we all keep saying go big or go home, right? You want the biggest, the baddest, the best. You're doing all the stuff. You're saving all your pennies. You're doing. You talk about guys that have CNC don't have the software running yet. You know, like we're all just kind of struggling to the next level. And if you've made it there, you take a hit and you lose it. Now, are you calling your homeowner's insurance to say I have a commercial grade equipment at my house? Do I have a business policy? Like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Can you afford to buy a new one, or do you have to make that insurance claim? And then when you make that insurance claim, was it even covered? So for $500 for 3.5 years, you're covered. Like, to me, that's
yeah.
If that's all it did was an insurance policy you bought for your equipment for 3 years for $500, you couldn't buy an insurance policy for that much, right?
Yeah.
That was a rabbit hole.
To answer this question here, well,
which one? Sorry, Roger. Where were we at?
Right before that.
Right there.
Stop Go back. Go ahead.
Yeah, what we're talking about with it is, at the very least, on your valuable electronics, you should have what they call a surge suppressor. Now, here, around here, we talk in the electrical trade, we talk about sags and surges, or sags and swells is the proper name. A swell you would get when the power goes way above what your nominal voltage would be. Usually that comes from a lightning strike. You know, let's say it strikes a pole a few houses down, that oscillatory transient will follow its way right into your house and will look for the most sensitive thing it can find and blow it up.
Least
so that's why you want to have at the very least, a surge suppressor. What Rick's been talking about, having a UPS, if you would get, and like I said, we have them on our servers here. If you get a sag that lasts more than, let's say, 10 cycles in that 60 cycle run, then it'll shut that piece of equipment down and you'll have to go back and restart it. The UPS will carry it through it. It'll carry you through these little sags and bumps, and it'll keep running for a while depending on how big of a UPS you have. Ours are good for about 3 hours just running the server. On our, like my desktop computers and stuff, we don't usually put those on UPSs. They're just on whole house surge protection.
Yeah, and when you literally turn the piece of equipment on, you can go under the settings and you could say, how long will this last? And they'll tell you by the minute, by whatever. They'll tell you. You could run this piece of equipment for 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours. They'll tell you. But
it depends on the connected load.
Right, but the point is, you're not probably going to use it for 4 to 5 hours. The point is, whenever you have an intermittent blemish in your power, your equipment will never know it. You're conditioning that power to be a consistent, perfect power source.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I think this is a great conversation just to bring up, just because I think the average person has no idea that this is a thing.
Yeah.
Like they know surge protectors, right? But I think using UPS, not for shipping, but for electrical stuff, is beyond I don't know. It's just like, it's not talked about unless you're an electrical specialist.
Something else people have to keep in mind on surge protectors is the ones you get at Walmart aren't near as good as you need to buy something with some quality. Get a name brand on, like APC or something like that. Don't just get the generic one made in China and plug-in strip that says a surge protector. And if you look at how many joules it's worth, it's not worth much.
Yeah, that's why I said APC or what is it? Cyber Power. They're really good.
And Schneider.
Yeah, so if you were to stay APC and you were to go into 1500 watts or higher, they don't have that in like the lower grade. That's pure commercial grades, and they get pretty expensive. So that's what I would go to Cyber Power. But I tend to stay in the APC when it's 900 or 1,000 watts lower. The only reason, to be honest, is because I like the display on the APCs better. That's it. I like the display.
It's got pretty lights.
Yeah, I mean, technically, it's probably better that the cyber power actually is off and you have to turn it on because it is using power just staying on. But I like the fact that, you know, like you can have a percentage, right? So you could say, you know, 100, whatever the current that's coming in, how much of that current are you using? It has percentage. So what's crazy is that you turn your CNC on, that number could jump up to like 120%. So that 20% that was overdrawn, it drawed for that from your battery source for that second it's turned the battery on, didn't trip your breaker, and then after it's on, you see it go down to like 25 to 50, 30%, because it's only that first initial draw that has a hard, amp draw when it first turns on.
Yep.
Get it cranking.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All of my UPSs are APC, but it's about a 40-second switch over for my generator to turn on, so it only has to live that long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so what I got crazy into them too, because when I have a shaker for the DTF printer, it takes the film off of the printer, it brings it down to it bakes it. It shakes it, bakes it, and then rolls it back up. That thing uses a lot of power. And if I tried using a heat press in the same exact room, boop, right? And those lights only kick on to like high power every now and then, like when it has to maintain a certain temperature.
Yeah.
So I was always at that threshold. And so I use those UPSs and no more problems.
How many joules do you recommend for surge protection?
When you go under there, they kind of break it all down. It basically tells you like,
I didn't know if there was a number, like, if
put it this way, if it's that big of a hit, you're gonna take
the higher the joules rating, the better it is.
Right.
Of course, you can't go overboard there, but
right.
I like this one here. Since I have a bathroom extraction fan on my CO2. Well, I guess we have fume extractions in every one of our bathrooms here, and they work.
Just put your laser in the bathroom.
That's right. Just put it in the bathtub. Be all right.
Hello from Atlanta. LTX. I just changed out my giant 30 amp turbo fan from my laser to Vizio Sun and gets great extraction but less noise. I use a hydrophonic fan.
Yeah,
that's basically what this is.
Yeah, it's a Vivo Sun. That's what I use too. I've got two of them there.
Yeah, I have one of those. Actually, I have two of them, but one of them I replaced with the X-Tool inline fan.
Yeah, I have a 6-inch,
which is decidedly more noisy.
Yeah, I use 6-inch water main PVC, and then the fan. That's how I ran mine.
Yeah, my big laser runs on a 6-inch.
Yeah.
Right outside.
The Impaler said, okay, what channel in Facebook has the chat for this live? All of them. So each one of us are on our own Facebook pages, or each one of us are on YouTube. So if someone joined Andy's Facebook page and they typed the chat, you would only see the chat comments in Andy's Facebook page. So that's why we're using StreamYard, and that's why we're sharing them on the screen, because it's pulling all the different social medias together, and you're able to see them even though you're not maybe joining from the same source. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Multicraft said, good info since I'm still using Carbine Create. And that's when we start talking about that software stuff, Andy, you're really not saying it's like one versus the other because of personal preference. You're saying one versus the other because the ability is just another level, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I can't even taking my experience out of it. Like I can't tell you the number of people that I've heard just talk about user friendliness, workflow, intuitiveness, power versus ease of use. That's pretty widely known.
I could sum this up. So VCarve generally works the way you think, right? Like I think it should be done this way. Well, that's probably how it's done. Carveco does everything that VCarve will do, but you have to change the way you think, and that kills me.
And as a previous user of Carveco, you really have to you have to almost think backwards.
Andy, in your course, are these any of the things that are covered in your course by any chance?
Yeah. So the CNC side hustle, there's 2 projects in there, and I do them both in Vectric, and kind of step by step, slower paced, point them out. But yeah, Vectric is VCarve is used in there.
So if someone's interested in taking that course, do you mind saying how much that course costs?
So the CNC side hustle, I think it's important too to note it's focused more on, it's 9 modules, and 6 of the modules are based on the business side, really kind of my expertise. So if you wanted to learn software, I wouldn't take it. But so it's really about sales, marketing, techniques, strategies, all the selling platforms. That's really the true value. And it is $497.
You know, it's funny you say I wouldn't take it for the software, but there's moments when you feel like you're beating your head against the wall, and someone shows you one little thing, and you're like,
Oh,
"What the heck?" It's like an aha moment.
Yeah, it definitely is helpful, and I do that intentionally. Like, I walk through like a basic project and then a more complex project. So it definitely be helpful. There's tips and tricks in there, but I would say it's
geared towards marketing. Not saying you can't learn from the software, but
yeah, I would say it's 5% software.
Okay, fair enough.
But I will say, so I don't know if you guys know Kyle with Learn Your CNC.
No.
Fantastic guy. I highly recommend him. I'm actually going to have him on my live show tomorrow night. So if you're interested in that, which is at 7 p.m. tomorrow night on my channel, the CNC Side Hustle show. Anyways, having him on, Kyle has the most successful Vectric training course that exists. Literally thousands of people have gone through his course. So if you want to learn if you want to learn Vectric software from, like, that's who I recommend. He is, nice. That's the course. It's 100% software. Okay. So Learn Your CNC. That's where I send people.
Nice.
Yeah.
LTX Design said, Andy, can you add LEDs to your Avid? They have relays built into controller enclosure. I don't know if there's a UPS that can run either of these enclosures, though.
Oh, yeah, there'll be a UPS that can run it. You'd be surprised how big ones I make. I've worked on ones that fill entire rooms.
Yes. So we install them at work. Any piece of equipment we install, no matter how big or small it is, has to run 8 hours. Minimum. Yep.
Yeah, I've seen people add LEDs to an Avid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wildcraft said they make cheap lights that pop up when the power is talking about.
Yeah,
say the power
emergency lights. Yeah, cheap emergency lights. They got a little battery in them and pop on for an hour or two when power goes out.
Yeah. Clack, if you have a Shapeoko 5, you might be in the dark with the CNC running, just staying. There's other brands that don't have headlights.
Yeah, LED. There are LEDs on the Shapeoko 5 Pro, so he's right. Yeah, and they're bright too. So
it has built-in LEDs. The Winfinity doesn't have lights, right? Does not,
no.
Right?
No. Wouldn't be hard to put them on, but
no.
Put them on the edge of the workspace.
I use Dawn Power's wash. Will that work?
So, okay, you got to read the next comment. I saw this.
I don't know if my power is dirty.
I could actually answer that question. I don't know if your power is dirty. You need to have a power quality analysis done, which means they hook equipment up to your power line for usually a week. And then that records everything that goes on for that entire week. And from there is where we analyze if you have any power quality issues.
So in our area, it's been state and federally mandated that we modernize the power grid, right? In most cases, it was installed in the 50s. So we have line sensors, cat banks, and a bunch of different devices that are on the line, Ultimates optimization, all these devices now that connect to our servers to be able to monitor the power. They're trying to resolve why you wouldn't need that UPS. But the reality is that we use 10 times the amount of power we did in the 50s. And we're constantly building, right? So we're just always behind the 8 ball. So that's why I'm saying just having this protection is definitely worth having. When I'm asked what laser CNC 3D printer do I get, I'm telling to include the price of the UPS.
There you go. Yeah.
You know, and then that was important. You got to literally match it. So you have to look at, like I saw the spindle units, so 1.5, 1500 watt, you know, so you don't need the biggest, baddest. You don't need to buy, like you said, what size you need. Pair it with what you're actually doing it with.
Well, it's something like a 3D printer. I wouldn't even bother with the UPS. The way 3D printers are made now, if you have a power outage, power failure, you can restart and it'll take off from where it left off.
Yeah, that's great.
With the newer 3D printers, the older ones wouldn't do that.
If you have the old display button on the side panel, the display will stay on. If you hold the display button on the side, display will stay on. There you go. That's what
my APCs, I turn the display off because I don't like looking at it.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
So I'm going to do that now. I have to hold the display.
And the horrible alarm that comes on when the power's.
I just like it when everything's running and that percentage number's on there, that I can see it, because I know, am I close to my threshold? How am I at? And if I'm constantly running crushing my threshold, then I may need to make some adjustments and changes. You know.
The tone of those APC UPSs, the
audio
tone is brutal.
Extremely high frequency, extremely loud.
Yeah, it drives the dogs crazy.
Yeah, see, Multicraft is using a Cyber Power 2, 1,000 watts. Run. So yeah, these 3 fiber lasers, they're all on 1,000 watt. I got 2 diodes on 1,000, and then I got a Montport K40 on 1,000, but that's also with my computers and 4 monitors. So. Amazon $219.95. Yeah. The manufacturers, they do come with like a 3-year warranty, right? But I always buy the Amazon extended warranty because it's like $20. And if the batteries stop working close to with the 3 years, they just send you a new one because you can't ship batteries in Amazon.
Yeah.
You know. Hello from Alabama. There you go. Multicraft said, "Rick, quit fishing for a free copy of the source. Just buy it." No, and I'm actually going to use Andy's affiliate link and buy it. So
yeah, appreciate it, man.
Yep. If you want to learn the software, I think Kyle's the best one out there. Learn your CNC this program. Yeah, I have to check that out. I've never heard of him, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's I'll have him on the live tomorrow, on my live show tomorrow. So
I'll drop in.
I've known Kyle for a couple of years. Great guy.
Do you know by any chance what his course costs?
He's got a couple different versions, but I think I don't want to misquote it, but a couple $100 maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
LTX Design said, "Roger, I should have clarified consumer grade UPSs for our CNCs. LOL. Most off-the-shelf UPSs don't have 50 amp outlets."
No, you need to go commercial. You have to go commercial.
Yep. And you'll notice right away when as soon as you go up above 1,500 watts, you'll see them. They'll start saying like twist lock plugs or 30 amp plugs, and they'll have the twist lock because they know it's a 30 amp or higher. They don't have just a standard plug-in. But they'll say it in the description.
So it'd be hard to get one for that, the spindle, the 8.7 horsepower spindle.
No, you can definitely get it.
Oh yeah, you can get one for that.
100%.
I think even with
100%.
There's UPSs that power entire substations when the power goes out.
No, I know, but like with the it has a weird plug. I think it's a 50 amp, 30 or 50 amp.
Definitely get it. You might have to go a commercial grade if you have some weird, but definitely.
Like I know they make it big enough, but I'm just for my
What's the 10 of man Taylor's when he's like, rah, 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 rah,
Yeah.
Like, does that, yeah. We needed to add that meme in when you made that comment.
Yeah.
You can definitely buy it though. So I had 2 LED TVs die in my house. Could that have been caused by dirty power?
Not necessarily. Actually, a lot of the LED TVs anymore actually have a surge suppression built into them. Usually blows the fuse out of them or the thyristors.
Yep.
Which is an easy fix if somebody knows what it is. They, but a lot of people don't know that.
Yep. But you should even okay. So now we're talking. Even my living room, where my game consoles for my kids, and I have an 85-inch Samsung TV. Guess what that's plugged into? A surge protector UPS. You know what I mean?
You got to watch TV if the power goes out, man.
Half of your power bill has to be to just charge batteries and UPSs.
No, because what you got to understand is that it's like a trickle charge, right? If you're not actually pulling from it, it only barely uses any power at all to maintain, right?
Yeah.
It's just like battery maintenance, because you're not actually using the battery. And I'm only using that as a protection, because you could just buy a surge protector, but it's way more than just a surge protector, right?
Yeah. I think it's just to keep your kids happy when the power goes out.
Yeah.
Well, with harmonics, unless you have a 3-phase service, you're not going to have a harmonics problem.
Yeah.
Harmonics only show up when I'm going to get technical here, but when harmonics start causing problems, it's in what they call the third order on 3-phase systems, and that's when the neutral becomes unbalanced. If you have a single-phase service like in your house, you'll never have a harmonics problem.
They'll take some. The bad part about UPS is the battery likes to die between 12 and 4 a.m. and it never dies. Yeah, well, because when the battery finally does die, you hear that. What is the beep? You'll know. And that's why I said. So most of the manufacturers have about a 3-year warranty on the battery. A 3-year warranty on the entire thing, and within the 3 years, if the battery goes out. But to be honest with you, I've had batteries last 7-8 years. The time that you kind of see that the battery dies is when the battery is constantly being used. Like if you're constantly like running out of power and it's actually being used to draw down, draw up, then it's like your car battery, eventually it dies.
Yeah, there's an idea, because boy, when our UPS is going to alarm, you can hear it everywhere.
Yeah.
Most UPSs have a way to turn it off, though.
Snip that line.
That's the first function I find on
the
UPS.
Tesla. I hate Tesla, but the Tesla Powerball is insane, because 2 batteries could run an entire house. Like, that is so awesome. Yeah. But I'm not a fan of his.
I'm not a fan of him, but
right.
They have good technology.
Yes. Well, he bought good technology. I could say that.
Yeah, well.
I have a monitor waiting for me to replace the fuse. Yep. Andy, so this is his
so that's actually an affiliate link that I have with Kyle. Again, I've been through the course. I think it's fantastic. I recommend it. I've actually got a code. Let me check here so I don't misquote it.
You should drop it in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I will drop this in there. Bird 10. If you use Bird 10 at checkout, it'll save you 10%.
What if you do Bird 50? Will it work still?
You can try
it. Bird 100. Try it.
Like, you know how we recommend products, and obviously we're being YouTubers. A lot of people recommend it, but and this isn't me overselling it. Kyle's is one of those products that, if you just go to his website, you'll see how successful it is. He doesn't even have to sell it anymore. And it's funny. It's interesting that you guys have never heard of him. It's very well done.
How long is the course?
I'm not sure how long it took. I mean, you can go through it in. Again, he's got a
self-paced course. You're just watching videos yourself.
Yeah.
So, is there any classroom environments or lives with your people?
No, but he's got a separate product for that. So he's got 2 main products that I know of. the one I shared is to his master training, but he has a weekly training as well, where it's I think he does 2 live streams a week, where it's a kind of a classroom environment that way. So, and that's a subscription. I think it's like, I don't want to misquote it here. Let's see. So it looks like it's an annual membership is $25 a month. Monthly membership is $40.
Not too bad. Yeah, so I think if there's any good takeaways from today's lives is if you're saving pennies to buy a piece of equipment, protect it. If you're saving pennies to buy a piece of equipment, learn to use it to your best of your ability, whether that by using a free resource like a Facebook group like ours, or just YouTube videos, or if you have the ability to pay for the course itself, you know?
Yeah. The thing with courses, what you're buying is you're buying speed.
Yep.
Like you can learn everything on YouTube with enough time. But if the thing with courses, it's in there's someone teaching you, right? It's just like going to a class versus, YouTube. There's someone teaching you, it's curated information, and it's a path, right, that you follow, and it'll get you the end result that you desire, rather than, we've all done that, bounce around YouTube videos. I mean, I've done it.
Next thing you're watching videos about giraffes. Like, why am I watching?
I learned to build a fusion reactor on YouTube.
I just saw that a 12-year-old built a fusion reactor. The FBI showed up at his house, did an investigation, checked for radiation. He had nothing, so they allowed him to continue.
Well, there's not going to be radiation off a fusion reactor.
The FBI still showed up.
Yeah, they have nothing better to do.
Yeah. Bought all the parts online, some of them off Amazon. That was crazy.
Kevin's got a question there.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the challenge Kevin, first of all, Kevin says he wishes he had a generator for his F1 Ultra to go to markets. The problem with generators is they're loud. But check Blue Yeti. They're battery generators, and they probably run an F1 Ultra for a long time. I keep trying to give one of my portable generators to my brother, but he has one of these things, and he says, no, this thing will run my fridge for 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, they're about the size of a 20-quart cooler, right?
Yeah, it looks like a cooler, actually, with a bunch of outlets on it.
Yeah.
And his actually even has a 220-volt outlet on it.
Yeah.
So I did a video with Laser Pecker last year with what's their most recent one? The 2, 3, 4, the 4. Laser Pecker 4. And the whole premise of the video was to use a portable power bank to operate the laser. So the video is me. I actually took the laser to the park with this portable power bank and laser engraved for an hour.
So you graffitied the park benches?
Yeah, I did. Just held it everywhere.
New kind of graffiti.
New kind of graffiti. That's awesome.
Andy was here.
But so the point being, I don't even know if you need a generator per se. If you had a big enough portable power bank.
I would say though, Honda generators, if you did want to buy a generator,
they're quiet.
Because
they have one disadvantage: their square wave output.
Yeah,
so you're going to have to make sure that what you're using it with will handle that. Instead of the sine wave is what's normal power. Right. Square wave raises hell with electronics.
Right,
yeah,
but
if you're using anything with one of those power brick type adapters, those things will take just about any kind of power and turn it into.
Yeah, and it's a good point you brought that up, Roger. So the Cyber Power and their APC power, most of them are sine wave.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we used to use them because sometimes we need 10 power. We chain them to the pole because people steal them, right?
Oh, sure, yeah.
So,
And same thing with inverters, power inverters, even the ones you like hook to car batteries. If you get 120 volt AC power out of, you need to check to make sure they're sine wave and not square wave.
yeah.
Because it's a lot cheaper to manufacture those that put out square wave than the sine wave, and that is also filtered and regulated, whereas a square wave usually isn't.
Yeah, so I was looking at Blue Eddy. They actually have one that's on wheels, but it's only a 3,000 watt. But they do have a 6,000 watt version of their power brick.
I think I have one of those coming. We'll see. I've been going back and forth with this company. They have supposedly a whole house system. It always scares me when people backfeed in their house, man, because they don't know how to disconnect their house. That's how you kill a lineman.
I've heard that.
That's why they make transfer switches, and that's why qualified electricians should be putting those in.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what my house has, a transfer switch.
Yeah. And what do you call those, suicide cords, Roger?
I actually own one,
Yeah.
but I know how to use it.
Right. Yeah. Suicide cord. Yeah. But it just scares me because you can just buy it off Amazon, right? You're gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
You want to read this, Roger?
What is that, Bluety? Use
Blue
one
Eddy.
of summer markets for the F1. It lasts all day. Still more than 60% power left. Yeah,
There you go.
Cool.
So we definitely went down a rabbit hole today with this power thing, but I think to Andy's point is that it's probably not something that most people are even aware of. I can jump my car with my bare hands. The bearded Viking. Oh man, he does one of these. I got the power. Did you guys watch Bozo the Clown growing up?
No.
Yes.
Do you remember the noonie 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 noonie?
No, I don't.
It was the guy who wore the turban.
Okay.
He had a big medallion on his chain, and he would like do magic. He'd go noonie 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 noonie. That's how you got to start your car.
Something that's probably clearly banned for the modern age.
Probably.
But it was a big Chicago thing because Bozo the Clown was in Chicago, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, but
I just remember the ball toss game.
Yeah,
That's all I remember.
yeah. we're aging ourselves here.
Yeah.
Some people younger in the crowd was like, "What's that?" We're gonna have people YouTube and searching now. Well, who's Bozo the Clown? What's the name again? What was that name again?
I think he's talking maybe Blue Eddy.
Just scroll back in the feed a bit. Yeah, that thing.
There you go.
Yeah. Harbor Freight has some new generators look pretty good. You know what's funny about Harbor Freight is it's almost hard to tell difference between some of their products. They've actually done tests with Snap-on, and they were so much like Snap-on that Snap-on sued them, right? So like we had these Honda generators that we run all the time because when we have to splice lines together, we sometimes would bring them down and pull them in a trailer, do a splice to bring them back up, right? And then move slack and do all this stuff. But sometimes you can't bring trailers and all that, so we run on tents or we run with generators, and those Honda generators are pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So we only get so much money we can spend a year on like our stuff. So we started buying those Harbor Freight ones to run our equipment. When you put them next to each other, we're like, dude, this is the same thing. I mean, there was like tell me what's the difference other than the silkscreen printing on the plastic. Like, what is the difference? You know, it was so funny that it was like a carbon copy. You know, But yeah, but Harbor Freight's actually getting pretty good. I think that if you buy it from Harbor Freight and it's like outrageously cheaper, then you just know what you get when you're paying for it, right?
It's usually the way, yeah.
Yeah. Multicraft said, is the correct way to use a bit 0 for the XYZ before using the bit setter for bit changes? Bit changes? That's not a me question. That's a
He's talking about
the CNC question.
Yeah, he's talking specific. I'm pretty sure the bit 0, bit setter. Those are both Carbide 3D products. Is it correct to use the bit 0 for XYZ before using the bit setter for bit changes?
You shouldn't need one of those.
No.
They
The
ultimately
bit
both do
setter-
the same job.
Yeah, so the bit 0 should be used at the beginning of the job, and the bit setter should be used for tool changes.
Don't you have to use the bit setter all the time?
Yeah, so I'm thinking let me confirm this real quick.
Because if you use the bit 0 on bit 0 could be different 0 than the bit setter, right?
Bit 0.
So your first tool change would create an incorrect height.
Oh, because the bit's different, literally.
Yeah. Well, it's different, but where it thinks 0 is and where the bit setter says 0 is are two different things.
But that's compensated in the machine.
Is this machine magic? Like, how does it do this?
Okay, so the bit 0 is the touch plate.
Right.
So when you first set up your job, so what happens with the order of operations for Shapeoko is the machine will home to the back right. That's where it homes itself. Okay. And then it automatically comes forward, touches the bit setter, and then stops. And then you're in control. So then you would jog over to your XYZ 0, use your bit 0 to establish your 0. And then it's going to go back over to the bit setter before it starts the job, and then it's going to start.
That seems like a superfluous step.
So how would you do it?
You'll be happy to know, Rick, on a Onefinity, you don't have to do that. You just have a bit setter. You can use either the bit 0, like the equivalent of a bit 0, which is just the aluminum block, or you can use a tool setter, and you always use the tool setter in that case.
That pushy one I got.
Yeah, mine is just a plate, but yeah, if you got a little spring.
So what is the advantage for that pushy one versus just a block?
Well, here, great. The question, the bit setter, the pushy one, allows you to do is when you have tool changes, you don't have to re-zero. You never get out the bit 0 again.
Yeah, but on a Onefinity, you would just start with the tool setter. Like, I have one of these blocks, and it basically sits in my desk drawer because I never use it.
How do you set your XY 0 then? At the beginning.
Onefinity has limit switches. It sets them whenever it's powered on.
No. Your job XY.
Oh, yeah. You can just XY. You can just do manually if you want. I never use the block to set the XY.
Gotcha.
Because inevitably I'm cutting something out anyway. I don't care if the piece of material is a little bit crooked on the plate.
So when you do a tool change with Onefinity, like mid job, you do a one tool, you have to change to a V bit or something like that.
Yeah.
Do you have to reset? I guess what is the re-zeroing on a tool? It just
goes back to the tool setter and
measures
D back to 0, and then it does a simple subtraction calculation or addition, I guess, from where it was with the last bit and where it is now.
Yeah.
And figures, okay, your bit is actually 3 millimeters deeper into the collet than the previous one. And I'm pretty sure you could probably do the same thing with a Shapeoko.
You are doing the same thing. So if going back to the beginning, what I said was you could set your 0 manually without using the bit 0.
Yes. Oh, you could use either one of these, right?
Yes.
It's and just then that when it goes over tool bits, if you only have the block, you have to re-zero manually all the time.
Yes. So the bit setter, the pushy one, just enable you don't have to re-zero your X, Y, Z manually when you change bits.
Correct.
Yes. Both the same premise. Multicraft says he's lost, but that was 4 minutes ago. So hopefully that 4 minutes clarified.
Well, we're already 5 minutes over time.
So run through these last questions really quick. Chris says there's so much rebadging these days. All laser models come 3-4 different factories.
Oh, cow. There's a lot of that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like 3 guys who make all the lasers in the world.
Probably. ATG Restore said, I have a 3500 Predator for 3 years running. My trailer camper with no issues. So there you go, the Harbor Freight at its finest. So Clack said Carbrine will make these set bitters after initializing the machine. You can then set your ZY axis, and you'll only need to use the setter unless you change bits. But that's what we're talking about, changing bits, right?
Yeah. He said the same thing that we were saying.
Yeah. Multicross said it doesn't mess up to 0. I feel like I list 3 millimeters. I feel like I
probably lose
3 mils during a job.
That could be a different problem. That could be a lot of things.
Yeah.
Clack said, I haven't had an issue. You can reset the location of your bit setter if you needed. Have you edited the Johnson file to do it?
Oh, Jason. They call that Jason.
Jason
file. Even though there's no A in it, it's called Jason.
Okay. There you go. Well, looks like today, man, it ran fast. We're actually 6 minutes over. We had a lot of questions.
Overtime today.
Yeah. Sometimes we go down a rabbit hole, but like I said, I think it was a discussion worth having because, like Andy brought up, I don't think it's a discussion most people have. So maybe not necessarily all geared towards 3D printers or CNCs in general, but definitely something we talk about protecting all the equipment we talk about in general. You guys, anything want to say in the closeout?
No.
I think it was great.
Yeah, Andy, make sure you drop those course links in the group.
For sure.
Yeah. Roger, cool looking shirt, man. I didn't even say that today.
Well, you got to have a different one every week. So.
Is that one your wife picked out?
Oh, all of them are.
Oh,
which one's the girlfriend pick out?
Weird masks on it. It looks a little satanic, actually.
Oh man,
this is cocktails. Actually, it's from Mexico's Day of the Dead.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
And
tequila.
Okay,
all right,
well, see you all next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Join the group. Join the Facebook group. See you guys next week.
No pressure.
Bye.
See you, man.
See you, man. Bye.